Brad, obviously a much better showing for the defense Saturday than the week before. When you looked at the film, was there a common theme to what you all did really well on Saturday that maybe hadn't been going right before that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I think our mental mistakes were down. I think there was a really good energy, from the moment we stepped out on the field, on the sideline. I thought the guys put their feet in the ground. I thought we tackled extremely well. The goal going to that game, especially as much space as, they were going to have once a ball carrier got his hands on the ball, to be able to plant, drive, pin them to the ground. I thought our guys did an extremely good job at that. And so I think it was sort of a culmination of things. Obviously it was nice to get some turnovers. So, but yeah, I wouldn't pinpoint any one thing. I think just there was a lot of little things that we did better.
JD?
Hey, Brad, wondering if there was any updates on Josh Paschal and kind of his outlook for the week.
No, yeah, no, Coach can handle all the player updates on that regard, but everybody knows Josh. He's going to do everything in his power to be ready.
Hey, Brad, being on the field as much as you guys had to be on Saturday, and making those plays that you were kind of looking for, just confidence-wise, I know obviously Tennessee is more traditional offense, but just having such a strong performance going into that game, what does that do for the guys' confidence?
Well, anytime you play well, I think it really helps, build that confidence and trust, not only in themselves but in each other. So, and we talked about going into that game, we're continually trying to build sort of our identity for this year. Obviously, playing a game as sort of well as they did collectively, helps. But the thing you find out real fast, and we've talked about as a team, is that you're just 1 week away. And they had a really good week of practice leading up to Mississippi State, and it translated into solid results. And so they need to understand that you have to have that every single week, every single practice, every single day. And everyone's not going to be the best practice ever. There's going to be mistakes and there's going to be corrections. That's why you practice. But it's the focus, the intensity to which you prepare that comes to bear on Saturdays. And so hopefully, that lesson continues to be learned. And, we have another performance. We've got a really strong opponent that we've got to play on Saturday, obviously a different style than we faced last week. And so we better be physically ready to use our hands and strike.
Nick?
A lot of teams, when planning to drop 7 and 8 in coverage inconsistently, would just pull the outside linebackers and play nickel and dime. What made you decide to keep Boogie and Wright in there and use them primarily throughout the game?
Well, I really like the athleticism that we have at the outside linebacker position. And just like in any game plan, you have to decide what provides you the biggest advantage. And to have big, physical, long guys, that when it's time to go pass rush, they can go pass rush, but they're athletic enough to drop in space and make tackles in space. And, J.J. Weaver also had a really solid game. So between the three of them rotating, we were able to stay fresh, but also stay big and athletic, which adds an extra dimension to what you can do.
And this is a follow-up. They obviously all played well. Did a switch flip? What happened to get that much more production out of them last week versus the previous two?
Production in terms of the pass rush or just
making plays in general, just being the kind of stars of the defense, if you will.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes players just play well. Sometimes it's sort of the way the game flowed. And, I thought all three guys played really well. But I think they were also at times recipients of other guys playing really well. And I thought Phil and Q really dominated up front, and were able to force some errant balls. But no, I thought that there were some situations and obviously, going against a passing team and, in some certain passing situations where it was obviously predictable that they were able to cut loose a little bit and go rush the passer and show what they can do.
Aaron.
Brad, Jared Garantano's had three really strong games against you guys over the years. What's made him so difficult to contain, and what have you seen from him through his first couple of games of this season?
I think it starts with his toughness. He's as tough a young man that I've seen at quarterback. I mean, he'll take hits and he'll pop right back up. There's no laying on the ground. You can see that his guys rally around him. He's got good arm strength. He can make the throws. He's got good, pocket awareness. He can slide around the pocket, and at times, just make you miss. He can extend the plays just enough and his eyes are downfield. So he's got a lot of savvy to him. But I think, again, I go back, I think there's a toughness factor to him, and it sort of bleeds into the rest of their offense, and they play tough. They play physical. That offensive line does a nice job, at the point of attack. So we're going to have to be physical right back. And that's where I think a lot of this game is going to be determined, is at the line of scrimmage.
Eric. Eric, you with this, bud?
Sorry. Hey, Coach. So earlier this summer, you were mentioning to us how you wanted Quinn to be more of a run, or more than just a run stopper, and be more effective in the pass game. Obviously, you had the 2 quarterback pressures that led directly to picks this week. So just how impressed are you with him this season so far? Is it what you expected?
It's exactly sort of what I was hoping for from him. And he's still – we wouldn't say he's a finished product, but every day he works. And he's been getting better throughout the season. And it happened to sort of culminate on Saturday for everybody to see. But he's had some really, really solid rushes in the first 2 weeks. A couple where maybe the ball just got off. Maybe our coverage wasn't quite as tight, or just for whatever reason. But he was able to get home a few more times, on Saturday, really affect the pocket, make it uncomfortable for Costello. And, it's not just, we talk about, it's not just about the sacks. And so many people, they go right to the stat sheet, but it's the effect that he has on the quarterback, the effect that those guys up front have on the vision points for the quarterback. If you can put a big body in a pass lane, you can put a big paw up. That's the other thing. I mean, he had a really a crucial PBU. That ball was going to be thrown to an open wide receiver. He knocks it down and, gives us a chance to go out on third down. So, really, really pleased with his progression and the fact that he's owned up to sort of his deficiencies and known in the past that, we needed more in that area. And the other thing that's probably not being talked enough about is his conditioning and how many snaps he can play at full speed and still get out of the stack. And he runs and he hustles. So it's been really impressive, both him and Phil.
All right, we got time for 2 more. Maggie.
Hi, Coach. It's obviously been a pretty big news day in terms of coronavirus coverage. We saw the Florida game get postponed. News just broke that Coach Saban has tested positive. When you see that news as a coach in this league, what goes through your mind?
Well, I think we just all have to continue to be diligent and as we can. And we know nobody's immune. and we try to follow all the protocols. I feel like we're doing everything we can, but again, no matter how perfect you are, you know, there's always a way that it can seep in, or so, you know, you keep trying to do what you're told to do. You try to wear, you know, your face coverings and follow the protocols, and, you know, knock on wood, you can stay healthy and the players can stay healthy, and loved ones. And for any of those that get it, you know, you pray for a quick recovery.
All right, last one. Josh?
Brad, I'm sure it didn't surprise you that the guys played as well as they did Saturday, because we've seen what they can do in past seasons. But was there any part of you that was surprised that you kept those guys scoreless? I mean, just given, especially, I didn't know until after the game that that he'd never been shut out, Leach. So, I mean, I assume you don't go into any game, you know, you kind of hope you can pull off something like that, but you never really expect to keep them out of the end zone the whole time.
No, Josh, I mean, you can't, especially against a great offense like that, a great offensive coordinator, offensive mind. I mean, you go in and you hope you can play the best you can play and limit scoring opportunities and limit explosives and force them to go the full length of the field. And then hopefully, again, once you move down the field, you limit points, you force field goals, you maybe get a turnover. But, you know, you don't actively go into every game saying, you know, we're going to pitch a shutout. You know, it's rare that it happens, and it's special when it does. And obviously, you know, we'd love to pitch some more, but the key isn't so much just the point number. It's about playing and executing. And if we can do that, you know, good things usually happen.